We're here in Verdi Square on the Upper West Side to talk about Streetopia Upper West Side's vision for reimagining West 72nd Street as a place that prioritizes people and connects Central Park and Riverside Park the way it did 125 years ago. If you spend any time on West 72nd Street, you can feel how wide it is. I think part of the reason it feels that wide is because it's underutilized as a transportation corridor and underrealized as a public space.
I think it's long overdue that we think about the street and the space that we've allowed to be prioritizing cars and private vehicles instead of the many other uses that are needed. We have deliveries, we have bikes, we have pedestrians, we have buses, we have micromobility, we have scooters, we have so many things that we have to think about, and it's clear that we need to reimagine the street.
If there's one thing that I can say that should be without controversy is the way we're running our streets now, 72nd Street, does not make any sense whatsoever.
We counted movements along West 72nd Street. 88% of the curb-to-curb space prioritizes motor vehicles. 4 lanes of traffic with no dedicated bus lanes and no place for bicycles. We counted people along the corridor to see how people were moving. We found that over 3/4 of the people were moving by bus, by bike, or by walking. Walking was the predominant one. So that means 25% of people are moving by private vehicles, yet 88% of the curb-to-curb space is devoted to private vehicles.
The curb is clearly not being allocated fairly because we really have been allowing parking to be a priority.
We suggest that 2 lanes be devoted to moving vehicles, with buses given priority, similar to what we've seen on 14th Street in Lower Manhattan. And that's been wildly effective.
They have a plan for deliveries and they take away parking in order to improve public space, and they improve the public buses to move through the street a lot faster and more efficiently.
Their people-rided buses are at the mercy of traffic congestion right now along 72nd Street. In fact, the Upper West Side as a whole has some of the slowest bus speeds in the city.
As a pedestrian walking West 72nd Street every day, I can appreciate the idea for a mid-block crossing and also curb extensions.
To me, daylighting feels like a no-brainer given the safety benefits that it brings. It increases the visibility for drivers, also for pedestrians, by not allowing cars to park by the intersections.
There's none of that on West 72nd Street. We should just start there. Give me a can of beige paint. I'll get out there and paint some curb extensions.
In the vision that we've laid out, we highlight over a dozen uses for the curb other than parking. Everything from rain gardens to curb extensions to mid-block crosswalks to street seating to bike parking.
One of the really unique ideas that I hadn't seen before that I would love to explore further is the meandering bike lane. And it's not just a bike lane, it's a 2-way cycle track that would have its curbs offset, so it has a gentle curb that allows for business access, residential access, all of those curb uses that NYC DOT has talked about in their Smart Curb Action Plan.
This is a real opportunity to beautify the space, invite people to hang out there. As a resident in this neighborhood, I just usually try to get through the blocks as quickly as possible, especially during the summer because it's really hot. But if you had a space to sit down under a tree, if there's more public seating, then it would really transform the space.
I own and keep a car in New York City, so I want to make it clear that there is a need to get the motor vehicles into and out of the city privately, but more important than my car is goods and services in and out of the city. That has to take priority over everything else.
Central Park and Riverside Park have 2 of the busiest greenways in the entire country. And right now there's nothing connecting them for the entire length of the Upper West Side. 72nd Street is a perfect place to make that connection.
I do think that we know wherever there is protected infrastructure or separated infrastructure, that's where the majority of people feel comfortable riding.
I bike home from Long Island City to West 72nd Street every day. The only place on my entire ride that doesn't have a protected bike lane is West 72nd Street. That we don't connect Central Park to Riverside Park with a protected bike lane is outrageous.
So the vision that we have introduced is just a start. So we're continuing engagement with the community. We're planning workshops with the Block Association. We're going to do business outreach along the corridor. And we're going to continue to observe and measure the conditions.
What will work, what won't work, I'm not sure. But whatever we do, we need to start to try to make changes.